Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and smaller people. Today we are UmGeeUm, and we do improvised theater. And we shall today do an improvised play for you in the style of William Shakespeare. Do you know who William Shakespeare is? Yes, you do, yes. And what kinds of things happen in a Shakespearean play? Oh, so many. And so we shall now do a play for you, and we shall start by doing an improvised madrigal.
Let's do a song.
And so what is something you have seen today that has inspired you?
Something fun you've seen.
Anything you've seen today that you thought, oh,
Archery!
Thank
Look at
you.
that.
Step right up.
On the string.
Put
The arrow on the string. Put the arrow on the string. Put the arrow on the string.
And then he let that arrow fly.
Let that
Arrow fly, the air went
the
flying,
air,
the arrow went flying,
fly,
and flying through the air,
it fly.
through the sky.
Oh my goodness, oh my.
Oh my goodness, oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my, oh
He
my.
let the arrow fly, oh my, oh
He
my,
let the
oh my,
arrow
oh
fly,
my.
and it hit a knight right in the eye. Hit a knight right in the eye. Oh, the arrow did fly, oh my, oh my.
and
He
it
let
hit
the
a knight
arrow
right
fly.
A tragical madrigal.
A tragical madrigal, yes. Be careful with arrows.
Okay, for this next part, before we start our story, we need your suggestions to get us started. And therefore, what animal can you give us me? What's an animal that you enjoy? A bear. Thank you very much. So I shall let a bear inspire my character. Thank you.
And could I have a character you might find in a typical Shakespearean play? Type of character. Yes? A fiddler. All right, thank you. Excellent.
And can I have a secret? Something I might hold close to my heart and not tell others from the time of Shakespeare. A secret, maybe a secret that is yours that you wish to tell in this very moment. Yeah, nobody's willing to tell a secret, it's true. How about a secret of something you imagine it might be a secret? You got one? What was that? I shot an arrow. I shot the arrow. I shall use that as part of my character in this play. Indeed, thank you, sir.
Indeed. It is said Sir Tookus shall never ride the joust again, for he is half blinded.
Oh, 'tis most piteous, for a knight without an eye is like a cyclops.
Indeed, like the one-eyed cyclops, he shall lumber about the field of battle, swinging blindly and wildly, and shall not hit his target.
Yea, the other soldier shall surely take us now.
Knowest thou from whence this arrow came?
Nay, 'twas an arrow I have never seen before, of shape and size that was huge. 'Twas like as large as an arm, or a big bone of a chicken. Yes, yea, it was so large that we could hear the wind whistling as the arrow doth pass our heads, and then it hit its target.
And Sir Tookus fell, blinded, the good knight never to fight again.
And alas, with him betrothed and well to the princess. Nay, a princess cannot have a one-eyed love, and therefore 'tis a tragedy on two parts. No soldiering and no love.
Ah, alas. Perhaps this arrow shooter shall be brought to justice. We can only hope, my friend. And brave Sir Tookus shall surmount his injuries.
Captain, I shall do my best to bring him to justice.
Come hither, my friend. For I am not feeling well today, and thy company doth always make me feel better.
fellow, what has brought thee down?
I cannot tell thee this. I can only say that my fortunes have turned, and that I know not what is in store for me. Thou hast been a good lad all these years to me, and yet I think I may have to haste soon away.
Indeed, sir. It will be a sad day to see you leave. I mean, who will care for your fields and tend your home and milk the cow and all the things you do upon your farm?
Broglio, I know not. I know not who shall do this. I just know that in my heart there has been a deed that I cannot undo.
Sir, what speak you of? This vagary does not enter my head. I do not understand you.
Very well. I was in the forest. It was a lovely day. I was celebrating the mere aliveness that I do feel in the forest. You know how much I do love the
Thou
forest.
lovest the forest very much.
And I did come upon a strange bow and arrow. Huge it was. And I did pick up this bow, and in my hands, although it was large, it felt as so light. And I just pulled back, and I didn't let an arrow fly.
Nay, thou didst find a bow and arrow in the woods and touched it.
Indeed I did.
No, you not. The woods are inhabited by that race of semi-giants who do make their arrows of the chicken bone, and they are deadly.
I know of this, and yet I saw it, and I wanted it. For in that moment, I just thought it was so beautiful, and I was so full of life. And then I did hear of the eye putting out.
The eye of Spartacus was put out by an arrow this very afternoon.
It must be the same arrow, for when I did shoot it in the sky, it did disappear.
Sir, thou must flee, and flee quickly. Thou must take thy cloak. Thou must disguise thyself. Yes.
Indeed.
Thou must disguise thyself as a woman. I have some clothing from my poor dead mother. We shall disguise you well. For none shall believe that a woman put out the eye of Sir Tucus off.
Indeed. Oh, Broglius, you have helped me in so many ways.
Nay, sir, I fear that I cannot help you more. For Sir Tucus was our only hope against the enemy. He was a brave knight and a valiant one, and you have put his eye out.
Indeed, away. A fair life that shall we have.
I shall tend the farm. Mayhap there is a way that you can solve this. I have heard me that the race of semi-giants have among them wise women. You must go to one of them and beg her forgiveness. You must ask her to restore the wrong that you have done.
Indeed, I shall do whatever is needed. Thank you for thy advice, Broglio. Thou art a true friend.
Indeed. Oh, my master is surely in great trouble. For the arrow he hath found in the woods was that of an evil semi-giant, and he hath put out the eye of Sir Tucus for those of you who came late and want to know what's going on. Sir Tucus was the only hope of our army against the great enemy, and now he is blinded, and the princess to whom he was betrothed shall not love him anymore. Oh, indeed, I hope my master can find the wise women of the giants and set this right.
Oh, my favorite rock, mossy and true. If only 'twere beauteous today. The flowers doth smell beautiful, and the sun does shine in the sky.
My lady, I have followed thee from the palace through the woods. What dost thou here? Thou hast left thy crown behind, and shed thy princessly garments for what is this slower maid's attire.
Yea, I no longer want to be the princess, for I cannot have my good knight.
Yea, thou canst have him. He shall but not be able to see thee.
And I care not, for there will not be a good night of sleep if I am not to have my good night, for he was the one who doth own my heart.
My lady,
Sir Tuckus is a proud man. He will not have you see him blinded by this arrow. I am sure his senses will return and he shall come back to you. Do not despair.
I have not seen him in a fortnight. That's 2 weeks. That is quite a long time. And I fear he is never going to return.
I am old and have lived many years. I have seen many a man get shot, mutilated, and spindled, and they always come back for love.
Oh, good nurse, it is true?
Indeed it is.
Very well. Then I shall hide back to the castle.
Thou must hold the fort for him, be ever true, and let the world know that thou lovest him still, despite his blind eye.
I do. I shall let the world know. And I shall change my garments. Thank you, good nurse. Here, take my arm, for thou art old and frail.
Thank you.
Methinks I see in the distance a little tiny man climbing up our hill.
I know not about this man. Think he the one that blinded me?
Yea, he could be the one.
Oh, Father, what shall I do? For I have lost my own sight. I have lost my love, for I cannot see her. There is nothing for me here.
Good son, it is the last thing that I do. I shall find the one that put your eye out, and I shall take out 2 of his to replace the one that he took. And if I could, I would give it to you.
Dearest Father, I know that thy love for me is true, and thou wouldst do such a thing. For now all I know what to do is wander the land. So I shall leave thee hence, to find my fortune elsewhere. Bid my love adieu.
Good son, we shall find him and bring him to justice.
Come with me then. Come with me then as we find our way through this land.
Very well, I shall.
Indeed, the castle hath been very sad since good Sir Tuckus was blinded and the princess has shut herself up in the tower to wait for him. There is no one to dance to the tunes of my imaginary fiddle. And nobody laughs anymore. 'Tis a sad day. They say Sir Tuckus has headed up the mountain, stopping only at the place of his old father before continuing on his way. I shall set out in search of him. For surely an eye, and the loss of an eye is not worth the loss of a love or the loss of a future with a princess.
I hears the sound. 'Tis far away, and yet it sounds near. The crunching of leaves and the hooves of a deer. Yes, that is what it is. Someone is upon my doorstep. For I am blind and cannot see, and yet I can sense. Who goeth there?
Wise woman of the forest,
Yea, 'tis me.
I have come to find and live with you. I have come to find your secrets, for I did do something bad and I must speak to thee.
Very well. Enter, son, for I can tell thou art a young man.
'Tis true my disguise does not me well. For all can tell I am not very womanly, and yet I do hide. I do hide for this terrible deed I have done. For I have shot an arrow in the sky, and I have heard that it has put the eye out of our local prince. And now I am ashamed and banished as I do wander the land, and I seek to make this right.
This arrow, didst thou find it
lying there on a stump, large and chicken bone-like.
Yes, that was mine arrow. 'Twas not for you to take, and yet you did. Dost thou take things that do not belong to thee?
Not normally. This day I was so merry, I was so full of joy and gladness that I did see it, and my curiosity did overtake me, and I did have it in my hands. And when I had it in my hands, it is like it had a life of its own, for though it seemed large and big and dangerous, it was dainty in my hands. And when I did pick up the bow, I did feel strong, and I just set it towards the sky, and with a laugh I let it go.
Yes,
And I saw not where it landed.
yes, 'tis the enchantment upon the bow, my good son. I did not know that you were in the wood. And 'twas not meant for you, 'twas meant for good. 'Twas meant to hit the heart of a deer who was old and weak and need not fear that death was right around the corner and put her out of misery.
Without warning her?
Yes, and therefore I left it upon the stump for the hour of the eve which should come.
Oh, and I have foiled this too. For what can I do? I know that thou hast much wisdom. Please, entreat me. Tell me what I must do to make this right.
Yes,
How does one restore an eye?
well, there is the saying, an eye for an eye. And though I have not an eye to give thee, for both of mine are blinded as well, I have the answer. Thou dost not need an eye to see, thou merely needs the heart, you see. For thy heart will see what is true, and will lead you to what to do. Follow this on your path, and it shall take you where you want to go.
I know not what you mean, and yet I shall follow my heart. Adieu.
Adieu.
Thank you.
They say Sir Tookets has lately come through this way and headed up this hill to yon rocky ridge. I shall climb there. I shall cheer him and make him laugh and convince him to come back to his princess.
Is this thing called sight? Merry minstrel, thou hast found me.
Indeed, Sir Tookets, you have led me a merry chase up hill and dale. I have had to use my fiddle as a walking stick and nearly broken the end of it.
Thou art a good friend. Come here. This is not a time for laughing, though. This is a time for sorrow. For what can I do with what one eye and this scar upon my face?
Sir Tookets, sit you down. I shall tell you a tale. It is a tale of the one-eyed deer.
The one-eyed deer.
Indeed, there was a deer who had but one eye. She had gone running through the forest one day and lost it on the moon. She was very sad and thought that the loss of her eye was the loss of her love, the loss of her fun. Yet, over time, she did learn to caper and leap over hill and dale without her eye. 'Tis a lame tale, but you are not enthused. And yet, surely you have as much courage as a deer. This deer is now very, very old and wishes to die. She is not able to, however. She is enchanted.
Enchanted?
Indeed.
This is not an enchantment. This is a blasphemy.
Indeed, Sir Tookets, but thou must have heart. Here, I shall sing you a song to cheer her.
Indeed. Sing me a song.
All right. What is an eye but but a paltry thing. One does not need it to dance or sing. One only sees the evil in the world. You only need one eye to see your lovely girl. What is an eye to the paltry thing? You do not need it.
Laugh and sing.
Yes, yes, and take thy eye from my head. If you do not have your eye, you will be dead. You have an eye. You are alive. Your girl is alive. You are still a well-respected knight. I think that you should stop whining and return to town.
Indeed, for my whiningness does make me sad, and the singing does make me glad, and so I shall do this thing. I shall go back, and I shall face my lady, and see if she look upon me fairly. For this I do owe her, our love being so true.
Her love is true. And I have heard it say that your eyes were never your best teacher.
Indeed, I shall take that as a good thing.
It is a good thing, for it was but a little squinty eye, and thou art better off rid of it.
I know not this, but I shall see her nonetheless. Thank you.
Oh, good nurse! Good nurse, high hints!
I come. Remember, I am old. Take me time. I'm scared.
Good nurse!
My lady.
My father! He hath betrothed of me! I cannot even speak my tongue! He has sent me to wed! This very night!
He has sent you to wed.
Yes, for he said he hath never liked the knight with one eye, and he wants to marry me off to the evil prince of Gardoon!
Oh, this is a tragedy indeed. The plot grows ever thicker.
Yes!
My lady, there is no hope for it. You will have to run.
Oh! Run!
Indeed.
Into the wood?
I know. I told you that a princess did not belong in the woods. However, a princess betrothed to the evil king of Gardoon does.
And that is why you always told me to wear pants underneath my dress?
Indeed.
Very good!
Many people frown upon it, but I have found as a nurse that pants under the dress are extremely useful in this type of situation.
Very good! I should disguise myself as a boy! Have thou a hat?
I do.
Yes! I shall just be a lonely boy, and I shall sneak out of the castle, into the wood, into the dark of night!
Go to the old wise woman's hut. There is a large rock there. Sit there and wait upon it. For I am confident that all things do wind up in the wood eventually.
Very good, my nurse, I shall!
Oh, dear. It is a long and tedious job being nurse to such a princess. What is her father thinking?
Follow my heart. The wise woman had told me to follow my heart, and so I have dropped my womanly garb, and as I am a man, I am trying to follow my heart in this wood, and I know not what that means.
I am in the wood, and I have found the rock of which she speaketh, and I shall sit here, and magic shall overcome me.
I do
feel it
see
not.
someone arriving. Is it? Yes, it is indeed Tarkus, the man whose eye I have put out. He had come upon me on the path. How shall this be?
Hey, good sir, my master seeks for you.
Seeks for me.
Indeed, he has much to say to you. Sir Tarkus, approach.
Sir, thou art Bartholomew, not?
Indeed, it is Bartholomew.
Thou hast run from town about the time of my losing my eye. Oh, sir, I do beseech thee. Indeed, I do believe it was my arrow that I did let fly. I know not what to do, but if thou would take it, take my eye now.
Your voices.
I should take thy eye, but it would make my heart only more mad, for I have not lost, only what I have given away. For all these things I did give away for but the loss of one eye.
Is it a dream? They are real voices. It is foggy. I see not where they are coming from. Hello? Good sirs.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you. You are so kindly.
I know she said to wait upon the rock, and yet I cannot. I must go towards the sound that I hear.
Sir Marcus, you were very kind to young Bartholomew. He would have given you his eye to replace your own, and you did not take it.
Indeed, what shall I have with an eye but vengeance? And what is vengeance but anger manifested? And to have such a thing on my conscience I shall not, for my heart must be open if I am to see my love in the state. I know not whether she will take me or not.
'Tis my night.
You are a noble man. I knew it always. The loss of an eye is not enough to overcome a noble heart. Thou shalt be a fine, squinting one-eyed fellow, and very handsome for it, too.
Oh, indeed, sir, if only my princess will see me thus, my heart will leap. For my love I have missed. My sadness I have given myself. I know not what came over me.
Indeed, sir. Sit you down. I shall run post-haste to the castle and bring the princess here to meet you.
Indeed, I shall wait, my love.
Wait no longer, good sir. I know I appear not as the princess, and yet I am. It is good Gwendolyn. Do not hide thy eye, for it is part of thee, and I do love every part. For thy heart is pure and true, and thou art good and honorable, and you are still the one for me.
My heart is so generous, and my love for thee, it is like the wind. It fills the sky and brings the clouds. So, if thou wouldst still have me, I would marry thee this very day.
Oh, yes. Yes. Marry me in front of the animals, in front of the deer and the chipmunk and the bears. Yes, we shall marry right here upon the wood.
Sir Lucas, I cannot find the princess at the castle, but that is because she is here.
Good sir, is it not true that a jester is also a reverend of marriage?
Indeed, I am a reverend of Mary, and I could extend that to be a reverend of marriage.
Very well. Then shall you entwine our lives in our hands?
By the power vested in me, as a fool before God and a fool before men, I do pronounce you two foolish people who wish to marry despite the loss of an eye and a tendency to run around in male clothing. It is done.
It is done. Sir, and now, where shall we live? For we cannot live in the castle. Will you run away with me?
My fortune is thy fortune. Away we shall go, because I know our future holds nothing but happiness.
Very good.
And thus is it seen that the loss of an eye does not need to equal the loss of a love. The old married woman in the forest was able to shoot the poor one-eyed deer and put her out of her misery. The fool came back without the princess there. People were sad for a while, but soon his fiddle made them merry. The king repented of his evil desire to marry his daughter off to a nasty old king, and soon invited her and Sir Tucus back to the palace to live in luxury. They, however, declined, preferring their life of fun and frolic in the woods. And thus is all mended, and thus our play ended.
Thank you. We'll be doing 2 more shows tomorrow. We're UmGeeUm.